Powerman Duathlon, coming from Zofingen in Switzerland. Zofingen, well, that's about 60 kilometers outside of Zurich. And this event has always attracted a world-class field, and this year it's no different. It all started here back in 1989 for the first Powerman Duathlon. In 1990 we had the European Championships over a much shorter distance. This is known as the toughest, the hardest and the richest duathlon in the world. The best duathletes and triathletes are here to compete for this huge prize purse. Duathlon, well, that's run, bike, run. As we know, triathlon is swim, bike, run, and this used to be for the people who didn't like swimming, but today there are specialist duathletes. Last year it was the battle between the duathletes and the triathletes, and the duathletes actually lost. This year, well, we'll have to wait and see. I mentioned the world's best are here, and that's Matt Brick, the world champion of duathlon. Terza Bebsma, she did extremely well here last year. And Liz Downing, the queen of duathlon, the American. But this is the man everyone wants to beat, Mark Allen. He came here last year and it really was a learning experience for him. This year he's better prepared, as is this man, Ken Souza, the king of duathlon. Having a little joke with our cameraman. He says he's got some heavy work, but I'm sure Ken's work is much heavier today. So we're just about ready for the first start, which is the women's start. They start, in fact, 36 minutes before the men. 36 minutes, well, that's actually been worked out as the time difference, the average time difference of the top 10 men and women last year. Well, the women are off on the opening 7.5 kilometer run. And it's perhaps the toughest in the sport. 3 laps of 2.5 kilometers. They go straight up and straight down, as we can see by the profile here. Those are the 3 humps of the 3 laps. It's about a 150-meter climb to the top of each lap. And it may look easy here, but they're actually starting to climb straight away. And one of the problems with this course is that many people pull muscles early on because they're not warmed up. Certainly Carolyn Hubbard here, the Canadian, looks warmed up. She's put away a few meters on a compatriot there, number 4. That's Julianne White. Just to her right was Joy Hansen, and number 9, that's Donna Peters, who's in great form at the moment. She's on coming off 2 wins, so she's making it, or trying to make it 3 in a row. 23, that's Joy Hansen. They're coming to the top of the first climb, and it's still Carolyn Hubbard. Wonders where to go, but she turns right, and then it goes into the wooded section here. They've been running on concrete for the last about a kilometre, and now they have to run through the woods. And we've had quite a lot of rain. As you can see, it's fairly muddy under feet, which makes it even tougher. This is Donna Peters, Julianne White and Joy Hansen right behind. Defending champion is Erin Baker from New Zealand, and she's not racing this year because only a few weeks ago she had a little baby boy. So congratulations, Erin, and sorry you're not here. Carolyn Hubbard stretching out on the downhill section. This is another problem. They have this fierce climb and then a very tough, hard descent, which plays havoc with the thigh muscles. Just imagine they're going to jump on their bike after this for 150 kilometers, so that's most probably playing on their mind a little. The second group, Donna Peters, Joy Hansen, Julianne White, Paula Newby-Fraser just going through there, and right behind Maddie Tallman, Liz Downing, and in all red, Terza Bebsma from Holland. Well, start of the second lap, it's Carolyn Hubbard, the Canadian, stretching out, and off they go on the climb once again. I mentioned it may look easy, but I can assure you it's not. You can see the leaders have caught Carolyn Hubbard as she goes up the top of the first climb for the second time. And it's Julianne White in the blue with a Helly Hansen top. It's 7 o'clock in the morning and it's fairly cool. So she's preparing herself, doesn't want to change for the bike section, so she's all ready for it. I mentioned the mud, you can see it's pretty muddy. And Joy Hansen, who's taken got a little lead on the others, is finding it tough going, but not as tough as these. Maddie Tallman here on the outside. Julianne White behind. Carolyn Hubbard, Donna Peters. So the second lap completed, and it's still the trio up front of Hubbard, Hansen and White. And Donna Peters just hanging in behind. Maddie Tallman there gone through. But this is Terza Bebsma, the Dutch woman. She's just retiring from a sport. This is her last major race. She is a doctor and she's going on a specialist surgeon's course and will be one of the few women surgeons specialising in sport orthopedics in Holland. The queen of duathlon, Liz Downing, Paula Newby-Fraser right behind. You can see it's synchronised running virtually. This is playing havoc on the thighs there, but they're coming up towards the end of the first section, the 7.5 kilometres, and it's Terza Bebsma Dr. Sebebsma leads them in with Joy Hansen, the specialist runner, right behind, Julianne White and Maddie Torman right behind her. So Sebebsma comes into the bike park, and it's a quick change. Her opening time was just over 30 minutes, 30:30 as you can see, and the others just a few seconds behind. It's a quick change, you can see they're all ready for it. Very few of them actually change clothing. So it's the running shoes off, the bike shoes on, pick up the bike, put the helmet on, and then out on the 150-kilometre bike course. Liz Downing just leaving the bike park with Julianne White. All right, virtually out together. Putting Sebebsma time into perspective, last year Erin Baker had an opening 28:49 for this 7.5-kilometre run. So that was very quick last year, a little slower this year. Someone's a little slower and more careful in the transition is American Gina Simmons. She's taking her time, making sure everything's right. She knows it's going to be a long, hard day on the bike, so why rush at this stage? Yeah, she even says so slow. Well, doesn't matter. For some it's racing, others it's just completing. Not sure which way to go, but she'll find a way out, I'm sure. Well, the men are ready to start, as I mentioned earlier, 36 minutes later. Right in the middle is the defending champion, number 45. That's Jürgen Zach from Germany. Got a star-studded field of duathletes and triathletes here today. Many world champions, ex-world champions. They've got a huge group from South Africa, and several of them have gone to the fore straight away. And these are two. Number 78, that's Michael Kronje from South Africa, and right beside him, Ben van Vuren, who finished 16th in this race last year. Of Japanese competitors here. Number 100, that's Kazuyuki Yamamoto, and nearest to it was Toshihiro Kubota. Anyway, we're back with the South Africans, Michael Kronje and Ben van Vuren. They're setting a pretty tough pace here. Another South African right behind. That's the biker, Greg van Holt, raced in the British Milk Race last year. So he's got some experience on the next discipline. Right behind him, in fact, was Greg Welsh. 82 is Pierre Frossard from Switzerland. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of local support. They really are setting a strong pace here. This is Frossard, the Swiss, as they go along the wooded section at the top of the first climb. This is one of the best runners in the field. This is Benjamin Paredes from Mexico. He's just run a 2:12 marathon, would you believe, in Mexico at altitude. Kenny Souza. Mark Allen just gone through. We haven't mentioned Mark Allen. He's here. He's going out for the big one today, as they say. We're into the first lap, and it's still Paredes. And right beside him, an age group at 5:94. That's Peter Schwend from Switzerland. I say age groupers. This is a race for both age groupers and professionals. The pros are going for $200,000, and the age groupers, well, they're going for a T-shirt and a medal. Well, you know, each to their own. So Paredes heads up the first hill for the second time. Got a glimpse right behind of Greg Welsh. That's Greg going through in third place, the Australian who won the ITU World Championships back in 1990. And this shows you what a huge field we've got here. Joss Everts just gone through. Kenny Glower with the glasses. That's Matt Brick with the glasses, the world duathlon champion. Won it for the last 2 years. Britain's Glenn Cook just gone through the picture, also with glasses. They've got the glasses on, not for the run. I suppose it's traditional that it's really the bike section to keep all the bugs and bits and pieces out of their eyes when they get going on the bicycle. But Paredes, he's stretching out up this climb. You can see him pumping the arms. Number 69. Michael Torban headed this race for quite a while last year, but faded. Wonder how he'll do this year. He's out of Seattle, Washington, a duathlon specialist, won several Coors Light duathlon series races last year. Just passing number 79, that's Ernst Delsberger, another Swiss. Very good duathlete. I remember him in the European Championships a couple of years ago. He was up with the leaders for quite some time. You see the long hair behind of Kenny Souza, the rock star image of duathlon. This is Kenny, known as the king of duathlon, but he's not done so well over the last couple of years because the triathletes have been doing duathlon and he's had a lot of competition. Greg van Holt, the South African bike specialist. Delsberger just going around behind Souza, though, as they go along the woods for the second time, the second lap in this opening 7.5 kilometres of running. There we We get 2 blue and white strips of the South Africans. 51, the famous number 51. Won more Tour de France than anyone else, that number 51. They've given it to Mark Allen, and I suppose that's very fitting. He is the king of triathlons, won just about everything in the sport except Powerman. He's never won Powerman. In the last 12 months, he's won, I suppose, the 2 races which are synonymous with the sport. That's the Nice International Triathlon, and then the Hawaii Ironman, which he's won 5 times. Nice he's won 9 times, and in fact that's the next race in the International Triathlon Professional Tour series, the next race at Nice. So we'll be moving from Switzerland down to the Côte d'Azur on the Mediterranean for the Nice Triathlon. Got a Frenchman there just in front of Souza and Allen pacing it out. You can see it's pretty hard on the thigh muscles. They're going down these hills. They're very sharp and very painful. Imagine they've just built up all this lactic acid going up the hills, and now it's just painful, jarring all the way down. Well, it looks like Alan's having a word with Souza. I don't know what they're talking about. Well, Souza's laughing, so he's obviously thinks it's funny. Greg Welsh, though, now leading. We've still got Peter Sven right behind. Paredes seems to be limping. Well, I wonder if he's pulled a muscle or something. Just pushed it too early. I mentioned, in fact, that you have to be very careful on this opening run. It is extremely hard on the body. And bearing in mind, this is a 6.5 hour, 7-hour race for many of them. 30 minutes is not long. And you do damage early on, and it's unlikely that you'll last the pace. But I'm sure Alan and Souza are pacing it. Obviously, Alan's trying to take some pace off Souza here as they go up the climb for the last time before they get on their bikes. This is Hager Arvid, a 55-year-old. He's finding it pretty tough going in these sticky conditions up in the woods. Greg Welsh isn't, though. He seems to be prancing through the mud, as it were. A little slipping, but I think he's enjoying it. Pumping his arms to keep that momentum. Behind we've got Michael Tobin. Benjamin Paredes, well, it seems as though he's got over his injuries. He's got packed into the rhythm. Kenny Souza on our left, Mark Allen on the right, and Greg Van Holt right behind in the blue and white. See why he's known as a rock star, Kenny Souza, with that long flowing hair. Well, this is disappointment. Jürgen Zach, the defending champions, forced out of the race on the first loop. Someone who isn't, though, is Greg Welsh. Greggy Welsh is in 25.58. That's pretty quick. In fact, that's nearly 2 minutes quicker than Jürgen Zach ran last year on the opening leg. But Jürgen was, what, half a minute down on the fastest run split. Kenny Souza into the transition. You saw Michael Tobin there, putting on his blue cycling jersey. Delsberger, Mark Allen. He's one of the fastest through the transition, and he certainly is today. How about that? Shoes off, pick up thy bike and go. Let's remember, he's got his cycling shoes already on the pedals, as you can see here from this competitor. They're all ready to go. They just slip them in the first 100 metres or so. Kenny Souza just gone out there, put his bike shorts on. Delsberger looking where to go. You wonder what all these people are coming in. Well, they've actually started earlier in a shortened version, sort of a half Powerman distance. Oh, well, we had 3:53. That was Philippe Lee, the Frenchman. Had a bit of an accident going out, fell over, but he's seems okay. He's on his way. Timo Vessela, the Finnish biathlete, that's shooting and skiing, has just gone through. Skis and shoots for the national Finnish team, so he'll have some strength for sure. Many of the others just going out. Jeff Devlin here. Jeff Devlin's a bit off the pace. That's surprising because he is a good runner. Matt Brick, the world duathlon champion, he's also a little down. But being a doctor, he knows how to pace the race, and I'm sure he knows exactly what he's doing. So this is Devlin just going out, and right behind, Dr. Matt Brick with his visor. Looks like Darth Vader out of Star Wars, doesn't he? Anyway, he's got his bike, and he's off out. You can see they're not mounting the bikes until they get out over the log. It's illegal to ride in the transition area. If they do, they'll be disqualified. So there we can see the running shoes off, the cycling shoes on. this one's got her cycling shoes on, hasn't it? It's Donna Peters. She came out just behind the leading lady, Thea Zebebsma. She's taken the lead, though, as she sets off on the first of 3 laps, 50 kilometres, making up 150 kilometres on the bike course. And you thought, or if you thought the run was tough, you want to see this bike course. It is horrendous. 3 huge climbs on each of the 3 laps. We can see some of the profile here. And that really is a tough climb, that middle one. And she's just on it at the moment. She's just going up the second climb, some 20 minutes into the bike section. You can see she's out the saddle pumping away, the typical Swiss cowbells. And she's got away from Liz Downing, the American on the front. Right behind her is Joy Hansen. That was Joy Hansen just gone through. Paddy Tolman there, Thea Zebebsma, and Julianne White, the Canadian. This is Mark Allen in the lead group of men. There are 4 of them have got away early on. Greg Van Holt in the blue there. Michael Tobin right behind from Seattle, Washington, as we mentioned earlier. The good runner. He's not a bad biker, though. And also in this group is Greg Welch, the Australian, who, if you remember, was first out of the bike park after the opening 7.5 kilometre run. This is Greggy Welsh right on the end, getting down, getting out of that wind, getting the slipstream, getting the aerodynamic position, trying to save as much energy as possible as they make their way down these tricky descents here in Switzerland. More famous for the Swiss sort of version of the Tour de France, the Tour de Switzerland, which takes place in a couple of weeks' time. So you can see the speed, the aerodynamic position is giving him a great advantage. He's caught up the other 3 on that descent. Van Holt, Tobin in front, and Mark Allen right on the front of the group of 4. One thing that's superb about this course, it is very picturesque, although of course these guys don't have much time to appreciate the scenery, but we can. We can take it all in as they go through the beautiful little Swiss villages. I mentioned last year Jürgen Zach won this race. Another previous winner was Kenny Souza. He won it back in 1990. Gregor Welch has never raced here before. That was just gone through the picture, past Van Holt, Michael Tobin with Mark Allen at the front. So Welch is here to try to win something he never has done. Neither has Mark Allen, though, up front, pushing it along. He's determined here to win, I suppose, the other major in the sport that has eluded him to date. He's pedaling quite easily, looks quite comfortable. I mentioned Kenny Souza, a previous winner. He won it back in 1990, should I say, going up the first climb. Chased by a pretty big pack, which has in the blue is Frank Clark, the Canadian. Right behind, Timo Vesala from Finland. There he is, another Darth Vader helmet. Seems to be very popular in the sport now. But this is the chase pack of women. At the back of them is Carolyn Hubbard. Remember, she led the run for quite some time. Oh, that's a Marshall built for comfort, isn't he? He's got the sidecar. We don't see many of those about nowadays. I'm not sure if it's the best vehicle for this type of job, though, because the roads are open, actually. They're open to vehicles both ways, so the competitors have to be pretty careful, and they've also got to adhere to the rules and regulations of cycling and riding in Switzerland.
The third flat tire today. Somewhat about the wheel.
Well, this is Olaf Zabadishus, the German. He's had a problem. He's had 3 flats, as you've heard, and that's it for him. He doesn't have another one. Well, I'm sorry about that. Well, Tom Davis here is a little more lucky. He's also got a puncher. It's his first one on the climb. He's had to walk up, but a local cyclist supporter has offered him a wheel. I'm not sure about the legality of this, but who cares? The sport's all about fun and enjoyment. So good luck, Tom. Give it back to him on the next lap. That's what he says, at any rate. So we can see the first major climb, and these are the age groupers going up. This is the last climb with Michael Tobin. He's just on the front of that lead group of 4. They're sticking together. He's passing a few of the slower women, so he's already caught up 36 minutes on some of the women. Greg Van Holt, cycling pedigree. New to the sport of duathlon. Says he wants to do well here, though. He'd like a top 20 finish, but someone who wants to do better than that is Mark Allen on the left, and also Greg Welsh on the right. Mark Allen, the grip. He's certainly taken a grip on this race today. I'm sure he's looking to do a little better, though. Greg Van Holt, number 98, spinning the wheel, keeping the big gear going. See Michael Tobin on the left here with Mark Allen. It's quite good to see them all taking a little bit of the brunt of the weather, setting the pace. Unlike Donna Peters, she's got no one to help her. She's pulling away from the rest of the field. We understand she's taken 3 or 4 minutes out of them on the first lap. She's coming up to another climb. Her race tactic before, in fact, was to have a go on the last lap, but she's decided that it's too slow for her, and she's going. Someone who's finding it fairly tough going is Paula Newby-Fraser, the Iron Lady from Zimbabwe. Lives in California, though, and she was 4th here last year, but the previous year, in 1991, she won this event, and I'm sure she'd love to do that again today. I'm sure she'd come for no other reason but to win this race, to be the Power Woman 1993. She's chasing down Julianne White on the back end here in the blue. Maddie Torman just in front. Thea Zibebsma and Liz Downing, the American Queen of Duathlon, in front of her. These hills are really sapping, really tiring, and they're having to pump those legs all the way up. This is Joy Hansen and Thea Zibebsma going through the feed station at the top of that climb. Very important to keep the fluid level high. As for the final 30-kilometer run, you're going to be desperate. So all of these are professionals. They know what to do. Donna Peters, though, she certainly knows what to do. She's said, well, that's it, I'm going. And she certainly is going. She's picking up minutes on the rest of the field. Certainly the fastest woman on course, and I should think she's faster than many of the men. Having a look around, I don't know why. There's no one behind her, only the marshal. You can see she's a very strongly built, great cyclist. Come off a win. She won Wildflower Triathlon last weekend. And before that, she won in Tampa Bay. So before that, in St. Croix, the first race on the ITP Tour, she finished, 4th. Needs a good result here, and who knows, she could head the ITP after this. The ITP, well, that's the International Triathlon Professional Tour, as we mentioned earlier. It's a set of 11 races throughout the world, the best races in the sport. The race directors have got together and formed this professional world tour for the professionals. Coming up to the feed station after the first lap with the lead group. South African had a little problem there, couldn't get his bag. I'm sure he's still looking. So the other two have got their feed. So is he going to get anything? Let's have another go, he said. Yeah, he's more successful that time. It's very important to get the food down you, as much as you can eat. And as I said earlier, the fluids, most important. See the huge crowds here at Zofingen itself. I understand there are 20,000 plus here. Remember, there's only 60,000 who live in the village, so they're all out today. Well, we'll just take a few images in as they go on their way for this 150-kilometer bike course. back with our lead group. Michael Tobin on the front, Mark Allen, Greg Welsh, and Greg Van Holt from South Africa making up the foursome up front. But someone in fifth place is Kenny Souza. He's been dropped, and I don't think there's much chance he's got of getting back on this lead group. Anyway, he's trying to take a bit of a toe off the camera cyclist here. There, he's telling him to get in front. Let me get on your wheel. Well, good for him. It's about the only way I think he's going to get back with them. He seems to be enjoying it anyway. Doesn't he look like Darth Vader? Got this helmet on, got the Oakley shades. God dear. Someone said to me, the problem with your sport is we can't recognize anyone. They all wear these dark glasses. You can't see who they are. But, well, we know it's Kenny Souza, the king of duathlon. These are the chasing women's pack. Just going past one of the beautiful churches on this course. Julianne White was at the front, but they're all chasing down Donna Peters. Donna's out of Seattle, Washington. Although she was born in Virginia, Minnesota, always strong early in the season because of her biking pedigree. Sylvia Neusbaumer, the first time we've seen her, the Austrian girl. She's actually caught up the lead group now, so there are 8 or 9 of them in it. I understand Paula Newby-Fraser's on the back end as well, so it's, well, they're gathering, but I don't think they're going to catch Donna Peters. She's actually, 7 minutes up after 2 laps, so they've only got a lap to go, and I don't think they're going to catch her, but we will have to wait and see. This is Thea Zibesma. Right behind, getting some food, is Krista Wheeling, another one in the pack, another American, getting some fluid down her. As they go through Zofingen, all these people chasing down Donna Peters. Although she's a triathlete, she does have a very good duathlon background as well. She won the Coors Light Series from Liz Downing in 1990, so that was a bit of an upset. It's the lead group. I say lead group, it looks as though someone's been dropped. This is Tobin going through, Mark Allen, Greg Van Holt. So it's Greggy Welsh has been dropped. The Australian has been dropped a little bit. He's not all that far behind, but he's got a long climb to go, so it's unlikely he'll catch them, or he's going to have to expend a huge amount of energy trying to do so. Our lead woman, Donna Peters, and we asked her what she thought about the Powerman course.
I love hills, especially on the cycle course. The first climb is just enough to warm you up, and then you have a nice downhill where you can power, make some time. And then the second climb is just enough recovery from the first one that you can really attack it.
Well, she's certainly attacked this bike course. I mentioned she's brought up quite a lead. The other woman, Mark Allen, on the third lap. He's starting to go through the major women's field now. And we asked him what he did specially for this year's Powerman event.
I think just the fact knowing how tough this course is going into it will help a lot. Knowing the pacing, the style that the race is going to take, especially on the bike, and where it's going to be key to hold on to the other athletes. Last year, during the bike ride, there were some points on the climbs where I just couldn't hold on to the pace, and that's where the other athletes made their breaks.
Well, he certainly held on to the climbs today. He's taken out 36 minutes of most of these women. There's only Donna Peters out front leading the course, and he's going through this chasing pack. We just see Paula Newby-Fraser and in front of her with Maddie Torman. They'll be a little surprised, I think, to be caught so early on by Mark Allen. I think they were hoping that it was going to be a run to the line for that extra $10,000 for coming in first. That's coupled with $30,000 both the men's and ladies' winner gets today. So the first person across the line, $40,000. Not a bad day's pay. It's the best in the sport to date. Thea Zibesma there in the red. This is Alan, though. He's on the descent.
On the downhills, it's just too fast to make up any time you lose on the hills. So this year, hopefully, if my knees and heart don't blow out of my body, I'll be able to keep up on the hills and then just keep an eye on the guys that I feel are a threat for the second run.
Well, he doesn't have to keep any eyes on guys at the moment. It's those gals he's chasing down this descent. We've got Joy Hansen right in front of him, Thea Zibesma in front of her, and Liz Downing on the front of those two. So let's see how they all master this descent. It's pretty hairy down here. You can see Alan's thinking, shall I go past? Shan't I? Shall I? Well, he's past Hansen. Let's see where he takes Sebebsma and Downing. This is a sharp corner here. You have to be very careful because of the oncoming traffic. As you balloon out, as they all have done. Luckily for them, nothing was coming the other way. So, there's only Donna Peters in front at the moment, provided he gets past Liz Downing, and I think that's inevitable. Well, there he goes. He's now second on course. Donna Peters first, Mark Allen second. Well, it'll be interesting to see if this 36 minutes is enough to make them very close at the end. Well, isn't that a typical Swiss scene? Cow with cowbell. Well, I don't think much of that, he says. That's, well, it might be a her, actually. This is the Liz Downing chasing down Donna Peters, and she goes past that beautiful monastery again on this Zofingen bike course. Mark Allen. Well clear now of Michael Tobin, who is in second place. Greg Van Holt behind him. This is the pack of women. Liz Downing. Well, you can see actually both Thea Sebebsma and in the white, Paula Newby-Fraser, cross that centre line. You mustn't cross that white line. I mentioned earlier that the roads are open to traffic. Well, they've got a marshal with them. I wonder what he's going to do about it. There he is. He's coming through. Coming up to Thea Sebebsma. Well, there we are, the red card. It's not football, it's duathlon. She's got the red card and she's out of it. I don't know if she knows exactly what that means, but she's actually been disqualified with a red card. Unless, of course, they renege on that decision. It's been done before. Donna Peters, though, she's back into the bike park for the final time. She's only got the 30 kilometres left. First person back in after the 150 kilometres of biking and 7.5 kilometres of running. Just the 30 kilometres to go, and this is a real tough 30 kilometres. 15 kilometres up, 15 kilometres back in. Well, Donna Peters, there we are, her bike split 4:21:32. Well, that is quick. Total race time 4:52:16, and she is nearly 10 minutes in front of the leading, or the other leading ladies. So she heads off out of the transition area for this final 30 kilometres run. This is Mark Allen. He's a few minutes behind her, but he's coming back into the transition area. He's about a minute and a half up in front of Michael Tobin, who's in second place in the men's race. So Mark Allen coming back into the bike park for the last time. The 35-year-old out of Glendale, California, now lives in Cardiff, just up from San Diego. Spends his summer, though, up in Boulder, Colorado, with many of the other world-famous athletes, and now the triathletes and duathletes. So we saw he was first back in at a time of 3:54:07. That's in fact a record for this bike course, so he's really going some today. Perhaps he's out for the course record as well, which is currently held by another American, Scott Molina. He won here a couple of years ago in 1990, and his total time was 6 hours 20:24, and that's what Allen's trying to beat. Not only does he want to be the first person home today, but he wants the course record as well, and who can blame him? Just saw him put some sachets in the back of his trunks, his running trunks. Those are energy supplements which he'll take on the run course as he heads out onto this final 30 kilometres of running. That'll take him nearly 2 hours, I would think. Michael Tobin, though, second back in the bike park, number 54. So that's it. Had enough of you, bike. Now we're going to get the running shoes on and chase down this man, Allen. He is a very quick runner, but I don't know if he's expended too much energy staying with Allen, Greg Welsh, and Greg Van Holt, the South African, during this bike stage. It's very demanding, as is this final discipline, and we'll have to see how that's affected him. He's not as quick as Allen through the transition. He's loading up. You can see he's got some fluids there. He's got a couple of sachets. Doesn't take them though. This is the chasing pack of women. Thea Sebebsma, Liz Downing, Joy Hansen, Paula Newby-Fraser. You can see they're just under 10 minutes down. That is a huge margin that Donna Peters has got on the rest of this women's field. But there we have some great runners here, including Liz Downing just going out. Maddie Torman's also in the group, as is Thea Zabebsma there, just adjusting the swimming costume. This is Paula Newby-Fraser going out, and she's limping a little. She came into the race with an ankle injury, though she looked okay on the first run. That's Joy Hansen going out, and Maddie Torman, 44, right behind her. Torman's a duathlon specialist. This is Krista Wheeling on the left, and Julianne White on the right, the Canadian. Born in actually Birmingham in England. She's still got a British passport, though lives in Canada. Matt Brick on the right, Greggy Welsh on the left. Well, Brick has paced it extremely well on the middle discipline, the bike. He's caught up with the leaders. Greg Van Holt behind seems to have a little muscle problem, rubbing it. So Welsh is off. We saw him come in first off the opening run. Kenny Souza here, just going out. He is very quick at running, so I'm sure he's hoping to make a few places up on the rest of them. Trying to repeat what he did in 1990 to win the Powerman, as is Alan, as we saw just going through. Now, this is the profile of the course. You can see it's a climb all the way to the turn point where they come all the way back down again. It's a very hard climb, and the worst part, I suppose, is descent. They come through the woods, and it's not so sure underfoot, which is very demanding. Well, Paula Newby-Fraser, she limped out and she's limped back in. Been helped by Ernst Lindsay, one of the co-owners of Powerman. This is Mark Allen, though, number 51. He heads out, chased by Michael Tobin, who is struggling. We can see he's just gone past the 21 kilometre going back, so he's about 9 kilometres out and is struggling. He really is slowed down. Someone who hasn't slowed down, though, is Joss Everts. We didn't see him on the bike, but he's pounded through on the early stage of the run. I think he came 5th off the bike, which we didn't get a glimpse of. Joss Everts won Ironman Europe last year, so he has a very good pedigree over these endurance events, and I'm sure he'll be looking to do well. This is Donna Peters. She's struggling. These climbs are quite steep, very demanding again, as is the whole of the Powerman course. A lot of people complain that maybe it's too tough early in the season. This is the race they would prefer in October, not May. So, though she's on a high, as I said, this is going to be her, or it could be her 3rd win. Mustn't count those chickens before they're hatched, as they say, but she's keeping going, though. She's staying away, but we understand she is being caught. I say being caught. She's got, what, nearly 10 minutes, so she's got to slow down dramatically, or someone's got to speed up quite a bit to catch her. But anything can happen in these endurance events, especially Powerman here in Zofingen. It's the toughest, the hardest, but the richest. The rewards are the greatest for these athletes. Although I'm sure she's not thinking of $30,000 or even $40,000 because she hasn't been passed yet. She's still in the lead. I say yet, who knows? She might well come in first and pick up that $10,000 bonus. And she's over that climb. Been chased down by Mark Allen. He's the only one that can possibly catch her, I think, certainly before the turn. He looks pretty desperate. Get those fluids down, as I've mentioned earlier. It's very important, especially now. This is Jeff Devlin, another duathlon specialist. Seems to be struggling a bit, though. Finished 3rd here back in 1990. Been chased down by Kenny Souza. You can hear the crowds. Come on, Kenny, and there is Kenny. They're in about 5th and 6th places, respectively, at the moment. Wow, Donna Peters, she's got company. This is Mark Allen. He's run her down. He's caught up, 7 minutes or so on the run on the way out. Well, that does mean that she could be caught, I think, by perhaps another woman. Mark Allen takes the lead, and I don't think he's going to give that up. He's looking for the 3rd major. He's won Hawaii, he's won Nice. He wants to win Powerman desperately. The only thing is, can he win all 3 in the same year? He's won now. Well, if he wins today, that is. He will have won 3 in the last 12 months. Won Ironman, Nice and Powerman. But this is Liz Downing on the right and Maddie Torman. They're running together, which is certainly an advantage early on. If they can get a fast pace, they can certainly catch down Donna Peters. Well, we mentioned Torban. He's slowed down. He is desperate, isn't he? He's struggling. I don't think he's going to make it. Joss Everts, though, in 3rd place. He's going past Donna Peters. So Donna's now third on course. Jos Everts moved into third place behind Mark Allen. Mark Allen, I mentioned he's won everything in the sport. He did win the first ever world or official world championships, which were in France back in 1989 in Avignon. Since then he's specialised more on the longer distance, and remember that classic duel he had with Dave Scott, the King of Kona, in '89 as well. So Allen comes down, Peters heads up the hill. She's actually now in third place on the course. And we understand Everts has gone past Michael Tobin just before the top of the climb. Tobin's in a terrible state, and I think he's unlikely to finish. But, well, this is a surprise. Number 220, Joël Glacé from Belgium, a bus driver from Brussels, would you believe? He's moved up into third place in front of Timo Vesela, the Flying Finn. Wow, what a shock. Never heard of Joël Glacé. Well, that's not true. Joël Glacé, I remember he did race in the European Duathlon Championships a couple of years ago when they were in Birmingham, up at the NEC, up in the Midlands in England. So he's in third place behind Jos Everts and Mark Allen. This is a surprise. He's, you can see by his number, he's actually in the age group category, but he is classified as a professional because of his status. Maddie Torman moved into second place. She's got away from Liz Downing, the queen of duathlon. Number 44, Maddie Torman. Duathlon specialist, won the Coors Light Duathlon Series next year. They're talking to her before the race. She's wondering what she's going to do this year. That series has been cancelled. Coors have pulled out. And she said, there isn't really anything for me to do. I can't swim. I specialised in duathlon. So, if she wins here, that'll make her happy, I'm sure. 51, Mark Allen. He's on his way home. He's looking for his third major, and he's going to get it, I'm sure. Mark Allen, 35 years of age. At the press conference, we said, had he done anything different to prepare himself for this race? He said, well, the only thing I have done is I've done a few more long bike rides with Kenny Souza, and for the first time ever, I've gone on the weights. He said, I read somewhere that after 32, you start to, your body starts to weaken, so I thought I'd do something about it, and I actually got on the weights this winter. Hasn't done him any harm, has it? So he heads towards the finish at Powerman in Zofingen, Switzerland, to be the Powerman of 1993. Look at the huge crowds here. Some are just going out on the run, you can see, and they're applauding him. They can appreciate this fantastic athletic feat of Mark Allen, the grip, the Zen master. Numerous titles he's got, but he's got another one now. Powerman 1993. $30,000 for winning and the bonus of $10,000 for being the first person across the line. That's $40,000 he picks up here today in Powerman, Switzerland. Congratulated by Urs Lindsay, the man who thought up this course, and I'm sure a few of them wish he hadn't done. It's the toughest, the hardest, the richest in the sport. There we are, Mark. Take it. Take your applause from this huge gallery here at the finish. Isn't he happy? Well, we can see the announcer, or hear the announcer saying that's what he wanted. He really is pleased with himself. Jos Everts, well, he should be pleased with himself. Comes in second, $15,000 better off. $15,000 for second place. Well, he's pretty happy as well, isn't it? I think if you can't win, well, let's get second place, he says. Congratulations by our winner, Mark Allen. But this is the surprise of the day. Number 220, Joël Glacé from Belgium, the bus driver. Well, I wonder if he'll retire from bus driving when he gets home. He said he won, what, $10,000, I think, for coming in third. Maddie Torman, she's passed Donna Peters in the closing kilometre. Well, Donna Peters, she will be desperate. Maddie Torban won't, though. She will be very happy, I'm sure. Maddie Torban, the 31-year-old from Corvallis, the United States of America, born in Chicago, Illinois, but moved out to the West Coast. Coors Light current champion, and she's going to be the power woman of 1993. See, right behind Matt Brick, the world duathlon champion. He didn't quite catch up the 36 minutes on Maddie Torban. The only one he hasn't, though. He'll be pretty pleased. He's down in about 7th or 8th place. But power woman 1993 is Maddie Torman, going along with Mark Allen, who did break the course record, but Donna Peters comes home second, and she's pretty pleased. I think she'll be satisfied. 7:15.58. And Julianne White, she moved up to third place in the closing stages as well. Well, what about the Powerman of 1993?
Very difficult, but I'm really excited. I came here knowing that I was in good shape, but I didn't know if it was enough to win. And I surprised myself, really, to be honest.
Well, I'm not so sure. And the Power Woman?
It was wonderful. Toward the finish, everybody's screaming, and I've never been at a race with so many people. It's wonderful. The support was great. It really helps carry you through.
Well, that's Powerman, the third race in the ITP Tour, and after the three events, we've got Donna Peters. Her second place here has moved her to the head with 260 points. Mark Allen's second place in Surfers Paradise, and the first place here gets him to the fore with 288 points. Well, that's Powerman 1993, Mark Allen and Maddie Torman, the double for this year. From here we move on to the fourth race in the series at Nice on the Côte d'Azur. I'm Ian Sweet and I wish you well, and I'll leave you with some images of the 1993 Powerman.